possibility of running 100% smooth operation. But let's talk a bit about this possibility of voters voting twice. When you were at the IEC, what sort of conversation was being held about the process of modernizing systems in a way that they can respond immediately?
Well, we had already started with a conversation around electronic voting. We had conducted a desktop study on electronic voting, and then we also had a conference in Cape Town where we were exploring this subject with the political parties. But unfortunately, for a long time, the subject almost disappeared. But I think it's about time that we resuscitate that debate so that we proceed and deal with this particular issue, because some of the challenges could have been prevented if we had electronic voting. But I think I must also indicate that there is also a problem that arose as a result of the legislation. This aspect of Section 24A, which basically allows a voter to vote where they are not registered, it's a problem. At the time when it was introduced in 1999, it was introduced as an instrument to deal with a certain defect in the voters' roll. You may recall that we started with the voters' roll in 1998, and during that period, the scanner that we were using had actually displaced people in different areas. You know, you'd find that you have actually registered here, but your name appears elsewhere. And in order to enable those individuals who had legitimately registered an opportunity to vote, Section 24A was then introduced. But now when you look at the current voters' roll, it has actually advanced. It is very, very current. And we have over the years encouraged people to register in places, in the voting district where they are resident. Mm-hmm. And I think that that defect no longer exists. We even have addresses now, only few people for whom we don't have addresses as a country in the voters' roll. So I think Section 24A is archaic. It's something that has served its purpose, and it must be removed. Because if you don't, it must be repealed. Because if you don't, you are going to continue having this kind of a problem. And it's a confusion, because now for national and provincial elections, we're saying you can vote anywhere. Yeah. And then next thing, we are preparing for local government elections, and we're saying you only vote where you are registered. You know, so this confusion, I think, will eventually be eliminated by repealing Section 24A of the Electoral Act.
Is it a big problem?
It is a massive problem. It's a massive problem, and I'll tell you why. In 2009, when we realized that this was likely to be a problem, we took a conscious decision as the Commission to say that we are not going to be advertising this, even though there is a provision in law, because we knew that advertising it and making it so public and people taking advantage of it was going to be having enormous impact on operations. Because when you say to people, you've got to vote where you are registered, it is much more easier for you to plan your logistics. You know how many people are going to be coming to the voting station. You know how you actually do your provisioning for that voting station. So it's a problem now, because if you are saying go vote anywhere you want, what if at that voting station you have only made a provision for 3,000 people and then 6,000 people turn up? You have a shortage of ballot papers, you've got shortage of various other materials that are supposed to be used for the election. Yeah. So I think it must just be removed.
So now the Independent Electoral Commission says although 22 people have been arrested, so far there is no proof that any of them did actually vote twice. What are your thoughts on this?
I think I would rather say let's wait for the audit that they are conducting, and let's see what it says. Of course, we can't prejudge before the conclusion of the investigation.
All right. Now we go to Mbombela, where our reporter Tumelo